Disclaimer, I don't speak Japanese, so I repeatedly say Akunohara for some reason instead of Hana, so please forgive me for that. I come from a white, gentrified, liberal, and generally uneventful neighborhood. I don't have any particularly close friends, and I rarely leave the house if I can help it. I'm socially awkward and I have a decent amount of anxiety. I don't feel very close to my parents. At this point in my life, I'm boring. I don't feel like I fit in where I am and I want to move far away when I can. I like to think that I've got potential, that I'm secretly special, but I'm probably just another fish in the pond. For these reasons, I relate deeply to Kasuga from Hana. Hana is a manga that was later adapted into an anime series. The manga is pretty highly regarded, but the anime is heavily criticized. In my opinion, this criticism is completely unfair. It comes from the majority of anime fans who are used to character designs featuring gigantic bug eyes, neon-colored hair, E-cup boobs, and voices only dogs can hear. Hana, however, was animated using rotoscoping, which is the cause of much of its criticism, meaning that the animators traced over live footage, creating a weird uncanny valley effect. Some people might find this creepy, but that's the point. The story is psychological horror. Depicting characters realistically but in an unsettling way only makes sense. I found this anime through a recommendation list of experimental anime. I saw just a small clip of the animation and was immediately intrigued by it. I've read part of the manga that covers the anime after I watched the anime, and personally I didn't like it nearly as much. It's rare that I prefer an anime adaptation over the original manga, but I think Akunohara's anime added something really special to an already powerful story. I'll give a few examples. Although I might be biased, I love the animation. I tend to gravitate towards unique art styles. I love Mob Psycho 100 and JoJo's, both of which have been criticized for their unique art styles, but not to the extent of Akunohara. Akunohara's animation is pretty choppy, sometimes it looks weird, but it's utterly human. Real life is not always polished and pretty, and rotoscoping real footage brings out the small nuances in the human body language that are not usually seen in animation. They are emphasized by the rotoscoping, as you might not take much notice to these small details while watching a live-action show. Since these characters look so human, I find it much easier to relate to them as well. Kasuga's facial expressions in particular are much less cartoony than in the manga, making his emotions much more clear and hard-hitting. I can relate to this much better than this. The pacing of the anime seemed much slower than the manga. There are many points of silence and stillness that added to the realism and atmosphere. There is a walking scene in episode 8 that lasts for minutes, and my interpretation of it is that you're supposed to resonate with the characters in that moment. The weight of the action they have just committed really sinks in better when you see their slow, tired, and nervous body language while walking home. During that whole time, my eyes were locked onto the screen. My head was racing with thoughts about how I would feel in that situation. It actually gave me some introspection of myself that I don't think any other anime has ever made me feel. I want to also mention the ending scene of the season that shows a montage of the events of the anime as well as teasers for a second season that never happened, and this choice, although cliché, gave a sense of closure to a story that was not meant to end at this point. It reminded me of the ending of Vinland Saga, another anime that may never get a second season. Both of these anime encompassed the perfect amount of the source material so that it could almost stand on its own as a complete story if someone chooses not to continue with the manga. The sound design in Akunohara is incredible. It's filled with suspense, including ambience, which in my opinion is a good representation of internal anxiety. The ending song, which also featured in the background during some important scenes, is creepy to say the least. The robotic voices contrast with the utter humanity of the show and the raw feelings of the string instruments as they repeat the same phrase over and over. Watching this show with headphones is crucial. But why didn't this adaptation just go for live action instead of meticulously drawing over every frame of the footage of the actors? The answer is Akunohara's attention to detail. without the art style, the anime could not possibly look as eerie as it does. Animated scenes can be manipulated at will, and so backgrounds, colors, and surreal imagery sequences can be implemented in a way that blends in with the rest. Although this risky choice resulted in commercial failure, it succeeded in its goal of capturing the story in an utterly gut-wrenching way. But these points are purely based on the art direction and not of the philosophy of the show itself. The story sticks pretty close to the manga, the anime only heightens the intensity. If you want to understand the anime on a more complex level, I recommend this video by Words Maybe. This last part is unscripted. I just wanted to say that I watched this anime in a day and a half, and it's already one of my favorite anime ever. So that's kind of saying something. I really don't like how the anime community reacts to things that go outside the box. So much of the community doesn't even really understand how anime production works. You know, you can see that through people begging for another season of a show right after the last season ended or something like that, and it's just really disheartening to see such an incredible story be underplayed by its lack of attention. This anime is a masterpiece and it really should be more recognized, but if you ask most people who were around during this time the anime was coming out, they would just brush it off. And although I was too young to even be in the anime community in 2013, I can just tell you that they're wrong about whatever they think. And everyone can have their own opinions of the art choices or whatever, but you can't just say that something is objectively bad because you don't like how the art looks. It probably turned away thousands of people that would have supported this anime because they would have liked it if they weren't told by others that it was bad. So all in all, this is kind of a lesson in herd mentality and how it can negatively impact such great stories that deserve to be told and recognized and supported for its incredible hard work by the animators and the storyboarders and the writers and the actors. The actors were incredible, and the director, and all of this work that went into such a mind-boggling, intense show. It deserves to be watched. So if you're seeing this and you haven't watched Akunohara, please do.